because of the signs, because they didn't have any proof with the healthcare issue with them marching through the crowd. We're really here because of the signs. Now, I took Ben. Let me just take a poll here, and I want an honest poll. How many people went to the website and looked at the NAACP signs on the website? Okay. So everybody else just believes the NAACP at face value. You understand what I'm saying, right? I took Ben Jealous's challenge. I went to the website, I looked at all the signs. I counted them. There were 25 signs. Of the 25 signs, 23 were pretty funny, but not racist. 2 of them were derogatory, but not racist. One of them was photoshopped. And you can see at the bottom, if you go look at the picture, it has the N-word. Go look at the picture closely and you can see that it was pasted in there. I'm going to tell you, go to any one of the Tea Party Nation, Tea Party Federation websites. Click on your state. Realize how many Tea Party groups exist in your state alone. Then imagine how many Tea Party rallies have existed since April 15th of last year. Just imagine how many signs have been out there since April 15th of last year. And the NAACP is not a small organization. They have money. If there were racist signs in abundance, they would have found it. You see, if we're going to have policy, it needs to start with the understanding that race should never be an issue. And when we start from that point, then the United States of America will start to become a different country and reach its full potential.
Mr. President, your stimulus is sure to bust. It's just a socialistic scheme. The only thing it will do is kill the American dream.
My name is Frantz Kebreau. I am the National Director for the NAACP. Okay. All right. They said, we'd like for you to be our National Director, and I said no. They said, why not? I said, I don't like your name. The name of the organization was the National Association for the Advancement of Conservative People of Color. And I said, no, thank you. I don't want the job. They said, well, what do you want? I said, do me this favor. Add 4 letters to the name. Change the name of the organization to the National Association for the Advancement of Conservative People of all colors, and I'll take the job, and they did it. The mission of our organization is to end identity politics in America forever. I am the progressive's worst nightmare, because I was a liberal Democrat who became a conservative Republican. I was in the Navy. I have over 300 carrier landings. I was an instructor pilot who trained over 200 pilots how to land on aircraft carriers. When I left the Navy, I was a lieutenant commander, an 04 in the military when I left. I fly airplanes for United Airlines, one of the most sophisticated airplanes in the world, called the Airbus 320, the same one that landed in the Hudson. And yet, landed, right? And yet, I didn't know this information. And I became curious. I said, how could I not know this information? And their paradigm created, for me, what's called, person of color, what's called the liberal plantation, which I'm supposed to remain on. I'll explain it in a second. The other paradigm is for people that are white. And for them to stay in their place, they created what I called white guilt and political correctness. And that's how they keep you guys where you're supposed to be. Our educational system not teaching us things. Let me share something else with you. In the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson wrote, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. That they're endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And in 1776, July 4th, I asked the question, was it true? It was true in principle, but not in practice. The Founding Fathers knew, brilliant men, absolutely brilliant men, they knew that they could not end slavery in their time, yet they pushed for it. But they knew that at some point in the future, there would be a set of people that would come along and say, this country cannot be half slave and half free. So if we are to be that shining city on the hill, if we are to be the beacon of hope for the entire world,
You must continue to do what you're doing. Do not take your foot off the gas pedal. Take it to November and vote them out. Take it to 2012 and vote them out, vote them out, and vote them out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frantz. I'm telling you, this was short for him. If you need an
Right now, for a little more insight, is Frantz Kebreau, the National Director Speaker for the NAACP. It's the National Association for the Advancement of Conservative People of All Colors.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So much to talk about with this issue, but a lot of people are saying they're at their national convention right now. They're becoming maybe not as important in a country where we have our first African-American president, and they've got to create a fight. They've got to create something to talk about to remain relevant.
No,
Is that a possibility?
That is absolutely what's going on. You know, I've talked about this ever since last year, last August. I said this is going to be the year of racism. And the reason it's going to have to come out is because they're going to have to gin up their base in order to come back in November to try to be relevant again. Now, the NAACP, what they've done is, in this resolution, is claiming, no facts, there's no proof, but claiming that Tea Partiers are aligned with white supremacist organizations. And by the way, I kind of think that I wouldn't be part of an organization that's with white supremacists, in order to gin up their base, in order to get votes to come out in November. And specifically, they have to do this, and the reason they did the resolution is because the liberal policies of the president, of President Obama, are failing. And he doesn't have anything else to turn to, so the only thing which is really, in my opinion, it's kind of evil, is to turn to race baiting in order to get people out to vote.
Here's their specifics. This is one thing they said. They say from the NAACP, they have displayed signs talking about the Tea Party and posters intended to degrade people of color generally and President Barack Obama specifically. But can Tea Partiers, not the question then, display their distrust or their dislike at a president because of his heritage? Because then it becomes a race dispute when maybe they just don't like his policy.
Exactly, and it is all policy-based from the Tea Party perspective. The problem is that the NAACP, the Democrat Party, need race. They need race to be an issue, and Social Democrats absolutely need race to be an issue. The thing is that, and this is quite interesting, Martin Luther King Jr. said this. He said, God made man from one blood. Let us be dissatisfied until the day nobody shouts white power, nobody shouts black power, but everybody talks about God's power and human power. And that's what the Tea Party is about. We don't care about race. And that's what incenses the NAACP and the Democrat Party so much, is that they specifically do care about race. And that's the problem, that's the fight that we're having.
Playing devil's advocate here, though, are maybe some who are Tea Partiers possibly racist. They don't belong to the group. It's certainly not what the Tea Party represents, but maybe do they give the group a bad name because they come out there with their signs and people are thinking this is what the Tea Party is about?
I'll tell you, I was at a Kissimmee rally, Tea Party, and I spoke at the Tea Party. One of the first things that I said is that if there's anybody in the crowd that has signs or that has a Confederate flag or has any kinds of these negative things, be careful, because I personally think that they're plants from the Democrat Party to make the Tea Partiers look bad.
There has been talk of it, and I'm sure this talk will continue with midterm elections coming up. We do thank you for coming us in.
My pleasure.
So when they call